Hey guys, a few days ago I posted a Q&A on my Instagram story and collected questions from all of you guys about audiology school and just my life in general. And so I figured today I would answer them all here on YouTube for you. To give you guys background, if you don't know me, my name's Allison and I'm a current first year Doctor of Audiology student. I'm on a 3-year program, so I'm heading into applying to externships this fall, which is really exciting. Let's get into it. My first question is, how do you keep motivated for a busy schedule? And this one's hard because I'm not always motivated, and I know it's hard to believe by the looks of my social media, but truly filming my day in my life, my demos, is what keeps me motivated for my busy schedule. I think recording myself really holds myself accountable. But if I had to think of tips for the general population that aren't filming themselves every day of their lives, it would be a calendar. Keeps me very motivated, and to-do lists. I love writing things down and checking them off my to-do list and feeling accomplished. That really helps keep me motivated. If I can see how much time I have for things, that helps me a lot. Another tip I have is to put things you enjoy in your schedule. If you know you have your favorite workout class booked at 7 p.m., then you're gonna work hard to get your homework done before that. Or if you book a workout class in the morning, then you're gonna wake up early and get a quick start to your day. Or even just going for a walk every day and finding time to do the things you enjoy, I think makes doing the things you need to get done 10 times easier. What do you think are the most important aspects to consider when deciding on which audiology program to apply to? This is a good one, and I'll talk about some things that are not as obvious. A little self-promo, I created a whole audiology grad school guide, and it's up on my Etsy if you guys are interested, and it has all of these details and 10 times more. So if you like what I say, then go look at my grad school guide. So the first thing that was really important to me was clinical opportunities. I wanted to be in clinic the first day of school. I did not want to wait. I did not want to do a full year of class before starting clinic or even observe for a semester. I wanted to jump right in. So that was really important to me at my grad school. It's exactly what I got. I started doing half a day a week first semester, and then for second semester I was up to 2 half days a week or 1 full day, which is really awesome. Another thing to consider is what is the quality of the clinical experiences you're getting. So I thought at my grad school, I was very lucky because we're not at a traditional student-led speech and hearing clinic, which is nothing wrong with a student-led speech and hearing clinic, but we were at just a physician ENT type office, so fast-paced, lots of interesting cases, and I thought I got a really good experience right off the get-go, seeing a diverse population of patients quickly too. Since it wasn't like a student-led clinic, our appointment times were really short, so we got used to jumping right in and doing things quickly. I also like that at my program we have extended rotation, so this summer I am going all the way to Orlando to do a placement for 6 weeks, 40 hours a week full-time, which I think is good to be able to go where you want and experience whatever clinics, hospitals, private practices you're interested in around the country, and then also experience what it's like to work full-time for a short period of time before your externship. And then some other things regarding clinic. Are you paired with a supervisor? Do you share them with another student, or are you alone? At my school I was independent, so I was always one-on-one with a supervisor, which I felt was very important. I think another thing to think about is specialized training. So does your school have a vestibular track or a pediatric track or a geriatric track? I'm personally in a pediatric specialization program, so I get to take some extra coursework in pediatrics, which is awesome, and I really love that. So those are 2 standout things that really helped me decide where to go to school. Oh, and then here are some other things that you might not think about. So obviously length of the program, more schools are going that 3-year route, and that's what I'm on right now. And I think it's so exciting to be done a year early. So if that's something you're interested in, look into those 3-year programs. I think they're a great choice. I think grades too, some schools are pass-fail and some have letter grades. And so my school is letter grades. I don't mind, but if you're really interested in pass-fail, maybe look for a school that's pass-fail. And then you can look into student lab. So is it 24/7? What's the equipment? How do you reserve it? Is the current technology or is it outdated? That sort of thing. So if you have a nice student lab, that says a lot about your program. And I think that's pretty much, I'll wrap it up there. There's so many more things I can talk about, and I can make a full video about how to pick a grad school too, if that's something you're interested in. Any tips for first year students coming into the fall semester? I would say take a deep breath. You're gonna be okay. Grad school is very overwhelming, especially I was having a full-on crash out my first couple months and panic attacks. Not really, but borderline. And I really was going through it. I think it's a hard adjustment, or at least it was for me, trying to balance class and clinic and making friends and being in a new city and moving. I struggled a little bit. So I would say it's gonna be okay. Everyone goes through it. You're gonna make it out the other end, I promise. I got to my point midway through second semester and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm doing fine in clinic. I'm doing great in my classes. There was nothing to worry about at all the whole year. And I just was a basket case. So I'd say take a deep breath, don't worry, but be prepared to study. I would say go into it knowing you're gonna be working hard for the next couple of years. Any tangible tips, I think maybe I'll get to later. I have some more questions about study tips and whatnot. But I think I also, if you're interested, I'll make a video all about my favorite items that I bought for grad school and that have helped me out throughout my first year. So maybe that would be good. This is a tough one. What did your stats look like for graduate school applications? And I don't know off the top of my head, so I'll have to go look. I have it. So I will tell you first where I applied. So I applied to Vanderbilt, Rush Med, WashU Med, University of Iowa, University of Illinois, and Northwestern. I got accepted to Vanderbilt. I got accepted to WashU. I interviewed at University of Iowa, then they denied me, and I got accepted at University of Illinois and waitlisted and then accepted at Northwestern. I had a 4.0 out of 4.0 GPA at Florida State. My GRE scores were 158 verbal, which is the 77th percentile, 154 quantitative, which is the 49th percentile, and a 4.0 for writing, which is the 56th percentile. And I remember being so stressed out because I don't know if it was Rush or Vanderbilt. Those were the two that really cared about GRE scores, but one of them was like, we won't take students that are below the 50th percentile. And I thought because my quantitative score was 49th percentile, I thought that I wasn't gonna get accepted, which wasn't the case. My GRE scores were pretty average. They weren't above average. They were good. I was fine with them. But Rush and I feel like Vanderbilt, they take into consideration GRE scores, and that was fine. So I wouldn't stress too much about your GRE scores, and so many schools don't even want them. So I almost retook it for that 49, but the $220 was not worth it for that. So I got a bachelor's in communication science and disorders from Florida State. I didn't have any minors or certifications. Some standout resume items, I guess, is I went on a humanitarian audiology trip to Guatemala 2 years in a row, which was really cool. And I also studied abroad in London and studied communication science disorders. So that was really cool. I was an American Sign Language and clinical audiology teaching assistant. I did lots of service work, so I participated in hearing screenings at schools, Special Olympics, healthy hearing, lobbying at the Capitol, fundraising, stuff like that. We had a Student Academy of Audiology undergraduate chapter at my school, so I was the junior representative my junior year, and then I was president my senior year. I also did some research, so I worked in the hearing, aging, and research laboratory and studied emotion perception in aging populations and also individuals with cochlear implants. And then I also worked in a general curriculum access lab where we were helping improve math curriculum for students with extensive support needs. I also worked at the front desk of the speech and hearing clinic for part of my junior and my senior year, which was really fun. And those are some of my stats, basically. If you have any follow-up questions on those, just leave it in the comments. Someone asked, how did I switch my program from 4 to 3 years? So I know I posted this on my Instagram story without any context, and you can't just switch your program type for the most part. But my school, they were a 4-year program. They're now a 3-year program, and my cohort's caught in the middle. So the cohort above us is 4 years. The cohort that just got accepted is gonna be 3 years. And they just told our cohort, well, you get to choose between the two. So they're offering both paths. So some of us picked to move down to the 3-year program. Some of us chose to move or stay on the 4-year track. And I decided to move down to the 3 years. So I'm really excited about that. Is there anything extra I can do now to stand out for grad school applications? I would just say get involved. Do anything you can to pursue your passion of audiology. whether that's volunteering at the clinic, shadowing an audiologist, joining some extracurriculars like Student Academy of Audiology or NISLA, getting involved in maybe national organizations like National NISLA, National ADA. You also have your state organizations like the Florida Academy of Audiology or the Florida ASHA. I did some cool events through them when I was in undergrad. So I'd say those are all avenues to look into. And I would say even if you can't get very much involved in audiology, just be a good student, be involved in your school. So if you're showing leadership and that you're involved and you're doing service work and you're pursuing your passion somehow, that'll definitely show in your application to graduate school. Did you take the GRE? Yes, I did. I mentioned that in my stats. It was not fun. I only needed it for 2 of my schools, but most schools I feel like aren't asking for it anymore. I could be wrong, but I definitely think it has nothing to do with how good of an audiologist you're going to be. So I kind of hate the GRE. This question was your experience with application for Au.D programs. So I applied to 6, as I said. I thought it was very stressful applying to audiology programs, and I didn't take my GRE until October of my senior year, which I think was a mistake. And I could not just finish my applications and turn it in. I kept working on them. So I was working on my applications probably up until January, February when they were due, and I had started them in August. I would not recommend doing that. I would just sit down during Thanksgiving break, or even if you wait till winter break, if they're not due till January, and just get them done and turn them in and be done with them. And don't be like me. I spent way too much time on my applications. Not that you shouldn't spend time on them, but I think I just couldn't let them go, and I wanted them to be perfect, and I really worked on them way too much. But I think 6 was plenty, because number 1, applying to grad school is expensive. You have to pay application fees for every single school you apply to, so just beware. So I would limit yourself that way because it can get expensive the more schools you apply to. I'm trying to think of any other my experience with applications. They asked about competition. I didn't feel like everyone I was going to school with in undergrad wasn't applying to any of the same schools as me, so I didn't feel like there was any competition, at least with my friends at school. And then obviously I got waitlisted and denied from the school. But then I also got accepted where I probably was meant to be. So it all works out in the end. I got another question about the best study techniques or habits. I am obsessed with Quizlet, guys. I have been a Quizlet stan since like 8th grade. I pay for Quizlet Premium. I think it's only like $25 for the whole year. It's cheap. But I don't care. People can slander on flashcards all day, but that active recall and recalling stuff really helps me. And I love the learn feature because you can do it as multiple choice questions, and then when you go around the second time, it'll ask you them as a flashcard or a written response and stuff like that. And I feel like it's a good way to actively learn information you learn in class. And you can also upload your PowerPoints and stuff, and it'll turn them into flashcards for you if you want. I also live and die by my iPad. I love the app GoodNotes, so I will take my lecture slides and upload the PowerPoints into GoodNotes, and then you can record during class. You can record the lecture over your lecture slides and then take notes directly on your slides as well, which is very helpful when you're going back and wanting to re-listen to what your teacher said at a certain slide and something like that. I also love GoodNotes. I will take blank sheets and I will make mind maps. So say I'll draw a hair cell and then I'll write everything I know about the hair cell and well, the ion channel's open and this is what happens and blah. And I think that really helps me, is being able to draw and create mind maps on my iPad as well. So kind of my 2 study tips. And then my 3rd is ChatGPT. Guys, ChatGPT has been my best study hack for this whole semester. I have ChatGPT Premium. I share it with my boyfriend and I use it to quiz me. So I will upload my lecture and be like, can you ask me multiple choice questions using this format one at a time? And I will have it quiz me multiple choice and I'll say answers A, and then it'll give me a response and tell me why I'm right or why I'm wrong. And that is my favorite way to study for multiple choice tests, and it really helps me get ready to think in the multiple choice way. What was the most challenging part of the audiology program so far, and how did you overcome that hurdle? I would say starting clinic right away, I was so anxious. I thought I was going to be the worst audiologist. I never thought I would get there. I thought I was just doing so bad. I didn't know anything. It was so terrible. I just had no self-confidence and I was struggling so much with imposter syndrome. And I finally woke up one day in a second semester and it just was gone and I was fine in clinic. So I don't really have any advice for how I overcame that hurdle, but I just kept showing up every day, and I talked to my support system, I talked to my mom, I talked to my friends, I even confided in my supervisor that I was just feeling so bad about myself, and I think that really helped, was just being open. These people are here for you. My supervisor even told me, she's like, I felt the same way in my first year. That made me feel so much better, because I'm like, here's my supervisor who I look up to, who's incredible, who's teaching me all these things and does everything so well, and she felt this way at one point too. So just knowing it's normal sometimes to not feel like you're the best, because you can't be the best at everything right away. Learning takes time, and it's hard, and you can't be a master at everything the second you learn it. How to prepare and ease anxiety to start audiology school in the fall. Just take a deep breath. That's literally all you can do. I would say preparing wise, there's nothing to prepare. Just show up. Obviously have your business casual and the right shoes and like be professional, but besides that, you don't need to be studying. You don't need to go buying anything fancy. I would just say audiology school is just undergrad, right? You know how to be a student, you know how to study, you know how to make friends, so you're gonna be okay. Just take a deep breath and go for a walk and do some yoga, and you're gonna be great. And if you need anything, just DM me and I'll give you a pep talk. Current FSU undergrad tips. This will be for all my Florida State people. Go Noles. I would say join Student Academy of Audiology. That was my favorite club in the whole world, obviously. I was junior representative and president, and I love that club to death, and you can ask any of the professors there. That was like my baby. I did so much work. I brought us to AAA. We went to Guatemala. We put on a cakeball fundraiser. I just was so obsessed with it. And hopefully everyone that's in it still cares about it just as much as I did, and it still is great today. So I would join the Student Academy of Audiology. There's something so special there. It's like an undergraduate chapter versus being a graduate chapter that has some undergrads in it. So it's completely undergraduate led with all people that want to be audiologists, and it's just so special. So that would be my one piece of advice, is to be a part of Student Academy of Audiology. What are my favorite scrub and shoe brands? So I have to go get my examples. So my favorite scrub brand is Figs, and I'll show you my favorite items. So this is their butter yellow, but this is the Rafaela scrub top, and this is one of my favorites. I also love like classic, just like V-neck scrub top, and then I also have the flutter sleeve top, which I don't know if they carry anymore, but it was so cute, and I got that too. And then for pants, I love the Isabel wide leg pants. And then these are the Zamora joggers. And I know joggers might be out, but I still think they're cute. So Figs, I would 10 out of 10 recommend. My favorite shoes, I have the New Balance 1080s. Love these. And I also have the Hoka Clifton 9s. Love those too. A good pair of sneakers is definitely super necessary for clinic if you're wearing scrubs and you're gonna be walking around all day. I would say go to your local running store and have your feet fitted for running shoes, and then they'll be like perfect for your feet, how you walk and your gait and everything. So that's what I did, and I love my 2 pairs. See if I skipped any. Well, I think that's it for me. That was a bunch of yapping, but I hope you guys took something away from that. And if you have any other questions, just send me a message on Instagram or TikTok, or leave a comment down below. Love you guys. See you next time.